Hello, my name is Dave Layton. Welcome to the second unit of our lesson series on improving the effectiveness of our Bible class teaching. In our first unit, we discussed the importance of teaching in relation to bringing someone to Christ, maintaining our faith, and growing spiritually. We also discussed the critical role we play in the teaching process. In this unit, we will review the process of teaching. Teaching, especially teaching God's Word, should never be approached haphazardly. We must do everything we can to prepare as thoroughly as possible and use the best methodologies in our efforts. Even in situations where we are experienced and knowledgeable in a topic, we must refrain from any form of weak preparation, if for no other reason than the knowledge that we are in an influential position and will be accountable for our teaching. Teaching involves three basic steps: the preparation, the delivery, and evaluation. We will look at preparing and delivering our lessons in this unit. Preparing to teach involves the activities associated with determining objectives, researching the topic, lesson planning, and selecting teaching methods. Since all teaching should be based on objectives, let's start with understanding objectives. Objectives are the outcomes we wish for students to demonstrate based on what we're teaching. You could say that the objective is the image of what the student will look like when you're finished. Everything about the lesson flows from an objective. Learning objectives must always be written from the student's perspective as to what they will demonstrate in knowledge or skills. An objective has three parts, either implied or directly communicated. The three parts are the condition, the behavior, and the standard. Conditions are the elements the student possesses, physically or intellectually, that enable them to demonstrate what the objective is stating. The behavior is the observable outcomes of the teaching, whether as knowledge or physical behavior. And the standard is the level of knowledge and performance against which we determine the student's successful learning. Here's an example of an objective. Note all three elements of an objective are present. State from memory the 10 Commandments in the sequence from Exodus 20 of the King James Bible. The condition, from memory, indicates without notes or other resources. The behavior, state the 10 Commandments. The standard, in the sequence from Exodus 20 of the King James Bible. Now, after determining the objective, it is now time to start developing the support to bring the student to the objective. The first step is researching to gather information to support the class. Researching the topic flows out of the objective. Researching involves deciding on the main points of the lesson and gathering information and material to support the main points. Normally, we don't collect a mass of information and then develop an objective to match it. However, sometimes as we gain knowledge on a subject, the idea of a class or a lesson flows out of it. There are two critical elements in the selection of relevant information. First, the information must relate to the lesson objective. And secondly, the information must be useful, meaning that it will aid both the teacher and the student in reaching the desired outcomes communicated through the objective. The objectives are determined and information and materials are gathered. Now it's time to start developing the lesson plan. A lesson plan is a systematic plan for learning. Lesson plans take on many forms depending somewhat in the experience of the teacher and the method chosen to present the material. A lesson plan also serves as a guide for the teacher to follow and assists with overall organization and timing of a lesson. It's a good idea to write out the information in a lesson plan. All of us have experienced moments when something escapes our memory. So having a written plan helps us to prepare. It also helps us to prepare the next time we wish to teach the lesson. No matter the format of the lesson, all lessons should have three basic parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. The introduction is designed to communicate to the student what is to be taught and why it's important. How the teacher chooses to introduce the lesson will vary with purpose and content of the lesson. The introduction also helps the student focus on the lesson and prepare to learn. The body is the detailed information of the lesson, and the conclusion is designed to wrap up the lesson and usually includes a summary of key points presented by the teacher and perhaps those provided by students, and a statement about the importance of the lesson. Each of these elements of an effective lesson plan are designed to help students take ownership of and apply the lesson. As you prepare the lesson, you should also consider how best to present the content. There are generally three strategies or delivery methods for teaching. These are presentation strategies, action strategies, and interaction strategies. Neither of these methods or strategies are inherently better than the other, but are selected depending on a number of factors, such as the objective, the learning environment, and the experience of the teacher, as well as perhaps the readiness of the students. Try to use a variety of delivery methods as appropriate to enhance the potential for students to be successful in learning. The more we involve students in the learning process, the more successful students will be in learning and retaining the information. Let's look now at each of these methods. Presentation strategies are methods most commonly associated with teaching. Examples are formal lectures and informal lectures. These are generally used in larger settings, such as an auditorium or a large classroom, and generally involve one-way or limited two-way communication. They are also commonly used for general or basic information. The responsibility is primarily on the teacher to communicate the content. This presentation, delivered through this video, is an example of a presentation strategy. It is presented by me, the teacher, to the student. It involves one-way communication. Learners are generally passive in the learning process in presentation strategies. Although there is a time and purpose for this strategy, it is generally considered to be the weakest form of teaching if it is used by itself. The next teaching methods are referred to as action strategies. Action strategies allow students to be physically as well as intellectually involved in the learning process. Examples are skill-building activities, simulations, role-playing, laboratory assignments. These allow students to engage multiple senses in the learning process and facilitate long-term retention and observable mastery of content. These strategies also appeal to a larger group of students' learning styles. The third type of teaching strategies are interaction strategies. Interaction strategies are teaching methods that rely heavily on discussion and sharing among the students. Examples are discussion classes or brainstorming sessions, problem solving, and committee activities. These activities require students to be directly and actively involved in the learning process. And like action strategies, interaction strategies also engage multiple senses and facilitate long-term retention and mastery of content. The teacher guides the learning process and may engage on an equal level with the learners. The skill here is for teachers to ask good questions and keep the discussion moving towards the objective. As we've discussed in this unit, there is a systematic process to developing and delivering a lesson. These actions must be done thoroughly so we gain the full potential for success in our teaching efforts. Success is considered to be students reaching the objective of our lesson. We should use a variety of methods to present the information in such ways that students are receptive to the lesson and retain the information. This concludes the second unit of the lesson on improving the effectiveness of our Bible class teaching. Thank you for your continued interest and attention.